I'm gonna tell you guys why this is the best cafe bike ever made. It's pretty ironic that the best cafe bike ever made was made by the Japanese and not the British, the people who invented the cafe motorcycles. But like with a lot of things, the Japanese have took what the British did, what they started, and they made it better. Case in point, the sports car. Where the British gave us this, which was a horrible car, the Japanese gave us the Miata, which was amazing. This is the 2018 XSR700, and in 2018, this was the first year for this bike to be released in America, although some other countries had it before us. I'm not sure why they do that. And the XSR900 has been here since 2016, 2 years prior to this, which is kind of the big brother of this motorcycle. So let me explain how it works. You got the FCL9, which is the Naked Street Fighter version, and then you have the XSR900, which is the cafe version of that motorcycle. They share the same frame and engine, a lot of characteristics. They're very, very similar bikes. This would be the equivalent, the cafe version of the Yamaha XSR700, which if you guys have been watching this channel, you know that I just love that motorcycle, even though the XSR700 is kind of ugly. So if all this bike was a cooler looking XSR700 or an XSR700 with a retro body kit on it, I'd say that's awesome. It sounds like an awesome motorcycle. Jack the MSRP, jack the price up a couple $100, and let's sell them. That sounds super cool. I'm all about it. But it's not just a body kit. They made some changes to it. Now it's got the same engine as the XSR700, same transmission. It's got the same frame. Okay, let's be honest. Most of the bike is the same. Most of the bike is exactly the same. What changed about it was different tank, different bars. That's different. A lot of stuff going on here. They actually improved the front forks, so they're about 11% stiffer than the XSR700. Then the previous year XSR700, in 2018 for the XSR700, they also fixed that too. The subframe is completely different on the XSR, and the ergonomics is slightly different. And the biggest thing you notice when you jump on the bike in terms of ergonomics is you notice that the bike sits fairly flat instead of, scooping down like a sport bike would. See over here, the sport bike dips down real deep. This is nice and flat, and that's how cafe bikes should be. You want them to be flat, but you definitely feel like you're sitting up a lot taller, than you would on an XSR700. So basically, what you have here is all the awesome things you loved about the Yamaha XSR700. And if you don't know what we loved about them, we're gonna take for a test drive. It's all the awesome things we loved about the Yamaha XSR700 in a cooler looking cafe bike. That's kind of the basics of it. Let's take this thing for a spin. I can't wait. All right, guys, before we do the test drive, let's do the words of wisdom. Whoever confesses that Jesus is the Son of God, God abides in him and he in God. That is 1 John 4:15. And I am so pumped to ride this bike. This is the first time I ever rode this bike. But you know what? I don't think I'm going to feel like it's the first time I ever rode this bike, because I was a huge fan and I spent a lot of time riding the FC7s. I tried to clutch it real quick, and then the back end just like got all squirrely, and I love it, man. I love this bike. All right, I'm gonna try to be impartial about this thing. Here's the breakdown of this bike, and this is why I think, every time I'm like, I don't have one right now, but normally I have an XSR700 sitting in my shop, and it's kind of my go-to bike. And the reason it was my go-to bike is because it was light, it was nimble, it was fun, but I wasn't the type of trouble that I was getting myself into was a lesser amount of trouble. I mean, honestly, you on the highway at 80 miles an hour, you were like, oh, it didn't feel, you felt like that's all it's got. I've been on other motorcycles, and at 180 miles an hour, you're like, it can do more, you know what I mean? And you want to go faster. There are some times in my life, and I got a bunch of kids right now, there's some times in my life where I'm like, you know what, let me just put some situations around where I can have a different type of fun. And I like riding wheelies, and I like cornering, I like just having fun like that. And these bikes, and I like doing that stuff at lower speeds, Okay, think about this. You're in your neighborhood, the speed limit's 25. If you do a wheelie on a power wheelie or a clutch wheelie on your sport bike, by the time your front wheel hits the ground, you're going 70 miles an hour. Now, there's guys who are really good at wheelies and they can keep it going really slow and they got like bigger sprockets, and I'm not trying to do that. Now, something I always loved about let me try this. What I always liked about the XSR7 is third gear, about 30 miles an hour, you could just clutch it up. Let's try it. Well, it's still kind of cold. Back tire's just kind of spinning, which is fun. All right, so this thing's got great acceleration. The little Yamaha twin, it really does feel good. It's a very smooth power. They did improve the forks and the suspension, which I didn't complain about it that much. I got it. It was a cheap bike. You know, I mean, how much can you, for that price range, how much can you really complain about? Of course it's got cheaper forks on it. So what you're getting with this is you're getting just this cool, you're getting the cool styling. You're getting cool styling of an awesome looking cafe style bike, and it comes this way and not modified look that way. What they did do is they made the tail in a different way that you can modify that also if you wanted to. It's different than the F. It's got, you know, it's got the round, you know what I'm talking about. But it performs like a really well performing naked street fighter bike. Like how could you go wrong? A lot of times when you're getting a cafe bike, it's all about the looks. It's like, okay, this thing looks cool. It's all about the looks. This is all about the everything. It's, you know what I mean? It's a cool looking bike, and I always had the problem. Not always. I got over it real quick because I loved the way it rode, and that's kind of like a lot of things. You know, I didn't like the looks of the Victory Vision until I rode it, and then I was like, oh man, this thing's awesome. I love the way it rides so much that I'm just gonna get over the fact that I think it's a funny looking bike, and now when I see it, I'm like, I love that bike. I think the XSR7 was not as good looking as the XSR9 or MT09. Let's do 0 to 60. First of all, I gotta adjust this. This is too far out. There we go. All right. There. Now maybe it was something goofy, and although I've ridden a bunch of XSR7s, I always felt like they felt a little unstable on the highway at the higher speeds. I don't know why this would feel any better, but I feel like maybe it's been a long time since I rode an XSR7, so maybe that makes a difference. But I think this thing feels awesome, guys. If you're watching this and you've noticed my gloves, these are the brand new. This is the debut of their brand new 508 Sedonas. I'm a big fan of these gloves. We only made 100 and we're only selling 99 because I'm keeping a pair for myself. They are not for sale as of right now, but they will be for sale very shortly, and they're probably going to sell out within a day. We're going to do something special for them, so keep an eye out for that. Make sure you're subscribed. We're going to do a special live thing just for these gloves, and this might be the only time we ever release them. Definitely the only time we're going to release them for 2020. Guys, I'm really liking this bike. It is interesting though how you sit. It's a slightly, you know, a little bit getting used to, but how you sit so much higher on the seat. You know, I would expect it to be a little bit lower, but it's a cafe bike. So if you were used to driving a Bonneville, if you're comparing this to other bikes like that, then you know it's all kind of the same thing. But I do like it. I would like to get this thing on a track and drag some knee and just have a really good time. All right guys, that wraps it up. I think this is the best cafe bike on the market right now. I've not driven all of them, I've driven most of them. The next competitor might be the I do like the Bonneville T120 black. That's a cool bike. And then probably the SC9 or the MT09. I've ridden the 8s, I liked it, and I've not ridden the MT10 yet. That's kind of surprising, isn't it? All right, guys, that wraps it up. We'll see you guys next time. Remember, it's not what you're riding, but where you're going.